Right guys, so we're now off to our next job, that is to have a look at a Swift Caravan with the corner steadies apparently faulty. Apparently the customer went to lower his corner steadies and all of a sudden went bang, and yeah, now the corner steady dropped to the floor and he's cable tied it up for the time being to get him home, obviously safely, because if not he'd be dragging on the floor. So yeah, we're going to go have a look at that quickly. I don't think we'll be able to do much today because of the fact that I've just said to him I'll come have a look and just see what parts we need, because basically he's going on holiday in about 2 weeks time. So I said to him the best thing I can do is come across, have a quick look, and then we can get some parts ordered so we can get them here in time before you go away and hopefully get it fitted. So yeah, we've got that today. So yeah, we're going to head there now and have a look at that. So yeah, not a lot really else to say, nothing else to report. Yeah, I did have someone say to me the other day about using impact guns on Caravan wheels, but they are a lot quicker to obviously get wheels off. I totally get that, but the problem is, as a tyre fitter found out the other day, basically the metal they use isn't the best. So the problem we've got is, if you cross thread it, there's no, with an impact gun, there's no forgiveness basically. Like if you do it by hand like we do to start off with, then if you feel like it's cross-threaded and you can feel it straight away, obviously it tightens up and you can't really turn it that very easily by hand. But with an impact gun, obviously it just whams it straight in and it doesn't take any prisoners basically. And basically we stopped doing tyres last year just because there was a lot of running around involved in that. So basically I've just said to people, well, you need to get a mobile tyre fitter out when it gets to 5-6 years old, the tyre. Obviously the Caravan Council recommend they're changed after 5 and they're never used after 7. So after 5 we always recommend they're changed. When the customer says, oh, who would you use, we just say just get a mobile tyre fitter out. Obviously give them the size. When you book it in, they'll be able to order you some. So yeah, basically we done that. The customer then had the tyres changed, but I basically got a phone call from the the tyre fitter saying we've just cross-threaded one of the hubs, so we're going to need a new hub. So the problem is, obviously they've used the gun on it, and he said, yeah, we used the gun on it, and basically he said one of my boys has gone out, cross-threaded it, and now obviously the bolt just spins, because basically as soon as you cross-thread it, it breaks everything up in these drums and the bolt will just spin, so you can't even torque it up. But the annoying thing was the tyre fitter, well, when I went and done it, because I done it last week, when I got there, basically the customer's husband always does what you should do and check the torque settings on the wheels, and basically he went up to this bolt and it literally wasn't tight, it just spun and he couldn't tighten it at all. So he then rung the tyre fitter and said, oh, did one of your boys accidentally mess this up? And they were saying no, and basically declined anything about it. So obviously the customer got really angry and said, well, no one's had that wheel off since, the tyre people, and basically he used it once between us servicing it and going out, and he said it was fine then. So basically the tyre fitter people then turned around and said, yeah, no problems, we'll honour it at the end of the day, it sounds like something we've done. So they basically gave us a call and said, can you go out and just change the drum on there? Obviously we had to put 2 new drums on. That's annoying because obviously you're supposed to change them in pairs for the wear and everything, so we put a pair on for him. So yeah, it cost the tyre fitter quite a bit of money because they aren't cheap, them drums, at the end of the day. But you also think to yourself, do we just do the tyres? Because again, we're so busy, but the customer's literally using the Caravan that weekend, so we had to order the parts, next day delivery, so also we had to pay a premium for express delivery as well. So it wasn't a cheap one for the tyre fitter, but you think to yourself, do you just do it yourself? Fair enough, it's easier, or it's a lot harder for us to keep running backwards and forwards. Like you got to go to the Caravan, take the wheels off, take it to the tyre place, they then change the tyres for you. You then got to find time to go back again and refit the tyres. But it's just a lot of running around. But yeah, when the tyre people mess it up and you have to go back and fix the problems, obviously it's a lot more work for us to then go back. We've then got to find even more time to fit the drums, because it's not a 2-second job where you literally just fit them and you're done. You literally got to jack it all up, get all the wheels off, you then got to obviously take the drums off, you got to fit the new drums, you then got to readjust all the brakes as well. So obviously make up for the new drums, you might have to loosen them off a little bit. So yeah, it's not the quickest of jobs. So you also think to yourself, do you just do it yourself kind of thing? But yeah, so basically going back to the impact guns, that's why we don't use impact guns, because if you cross-thread them, they don't leave no prisoners. They literally just strip the threads and then you need a new drum. And for the sake of 2-3 minutes it takes to put the basically hand do it with the socket and the extension, it doesn't take too long, to be honest. I normally undo them with an impact gun. Well, I'll use a socket or a ratchet to do the first undoing, obviously when they're tight, and then once they're finger tight loose, I'll then use the gun to do the rest of the way, because you can't obviously cross-thread a nut with it coming out. It's only when you put it in at the end of the day. So yeah, we do that, we zip it out quickly just to take the wheel off, but we never put it back on with an impact gun, because yeah, the problem is you don't know A, if it's going across threaded, and B, how tight you're doing it. Because some of these caravans we go to, and they're literally so tight, the wheel bolts are that tight where basically someone's just got a gun on them and went and gone like that, and then as soon as you put the torque wrench on, obviously you set it to 130 newton meters for instance, click it on there and it's going to click because it's that tight, but it's over tight. So yeah, that's the reason we don't use it. I actually had a customer earlier in the year, springtime, on a twin axle, and he'd only just bought the van, so he didn't know anything, to be honest, about it. But I literally had to get my massive breaker bar on it just to undo it. Literally, it was that tight. I had to get my, what is it, 700mm breaker bar on it, and actually stand on the breaker bar. And I said to the customer, it's either going to undo or we're going to wring the heads off these bolts. I'm going to have a new hub at the end of the day. So, but at the end of the day, we had to take them off to be able to service the brakes. So I did warn the customer and just said, he said, well, that's all you can do at the end of the day. So yeah, sometimes when people use the guns, it's not best. It saves a lot of time, but also it can cause a lot of pain as well. Obviously, if you know what you're doing, then fair dues, you know what you're doing. But there's quite a few people out there that try and cut corners, and cutting corners isn't always the best way to do things. Well, it's never the best way to do things, to be honest. Like, what good is it cutting corners though? Fair enough, you're saving yourself time, but you're just causing the next problem or the next person problems, and in my eyes it's just not worth it. Because if you cut corners and someone else comes to it and go, oh, who serviced it last, and they say you, and then they go, oh well, they've done this wrong and they've cut corners on this, then you've made yourself look like an idiot. Fair enough, you've got home fatigue quicker, but is it really worth it for your reputation? I don't think so. So yeah, so we're now going to head off to have a look at this one with the corner steady, and then we've got a couple of services to do as well today, so we'll go off and do those. But yeah, other than that, we will see you on the next job. Right, so our first job this morning is this Swift Caravan. What's happened is the jockey wheel has come, not jockey wheel, the corner steady has come detached from the actual threaded part, as you can see. And what has happened is this part here is actually sheared from the bracket. So what we're going to need is a new, hopefully we can get a new bracket here that goes onto the threaded part. If we have a look in our supplier catalogue, so in our supplier catalogue they actually do 3 different sizes of what we need, but we're just going to have to measure up and have a look. I'm pretty sure it's going to be this one here that we're going to need. So yeah, what I'm going to do is go measure that, and then we'll see if we need this part. We'll obviously quote it up and see if the customer wants us to do it. But yeah, we'll go from there. I just need to go measure this. This is a 20mm block, so we'll go underneath and measure that now. Right, so what we're going to do is we're going to punch the pin out now that holds the
threaded part in. So we just need to, it's quite hard to do because normally you should drop the bracket down and then there's a little hole in the top here that you can push the little pin or hit the pin through when you've got the leg down. But with this one I've tried to undo it, this side bolt will undo, but this side here just turns, so we don't really want to bring this down if we don't have to, because it's going to be a nightmare to get to the coach bolt the other side inside the Caravan, so we have to get in the floor to get to the other side to hold it. So if we can try and get the pin out without dropping it, then that would be an ideal way, but yeah, we'll just have to go from there. So what we're going to do is just go get another part. Right, so after a little bit of work I've got the pin out most of the way, so what I'm going to do is just use the side cutters to get it out that last little bit, if we can get on it. Right, so there we go, there's our little pin that we've just taken out off the middle of the threaded part. So we'll just put that over there from one side. And then in theory, this should now just literally come out of the hole like that. And yeah, it's as simple as that. So yeah, so we've now got that threaded part out. So that's there, and as you can see, so that's where the little pin goes through. They don't leave a lot of room, and if you get the wrong size punch or try and do things, it's not the strongest of metals, so you can end up, if you're not careful, damaging it and you won't get it out at all. So just be, that's why you need to have someone trained or know what they're doing do it really, because if you get the wrong size and you take the corner off the hole, you aren't getting that pin out, and you'll have to have a new arm basically, or a new hull corner steady that includes everything. So yeah, so right, that's everything now. So we've got that bit off. That bit goes on the top of the van and obviously slides backwards and forwards. These two parts are the bit that connects onto the end here where they go through. Obviously that used to be attached to this, as you can see, by the threaded part. So that probably goes there like that. We've got another one that side, and then obviously that goes over like that. So that's how it would have been. But obviously it's all broken up, so that's what we need, a new part of those. So we'll get that, and yeah, we will go from there. Right, so we're going to go measure the length of this rod and just see what length we've got to make sure that we get the correct part. So we'll just quickly get our tape measure. So for the part that's in the catalogue, the length of this should be around about 680. So we'll just measure that. So yeah, we've got 680 there, and then we'll just measure this part here. So that is from the threaded end, basically where the thread finishes, to the end of the nut end, and we've got 605 there. So that's exactly what we want. So we'll go with those measurements. So we've got 680 and 605. So what we'll do is we'll then go to our catalogue. Just go to the corner study page if I can find it again. Here it is. So that means that we've got 680 here by 605. So that's our measurement. So it's a 1148, and then we go on here 1148. So it's that one there. So that's the one we're going to order, or we'll quote the customer on that. To be honest, they're not normally over expensive, normally about I think they're normally about £20. I haven't actually got any phone signal here, so I can't look right now, but I'll look when I get back. But normally they're only about £20–30 for this part. Obviously it's a lot cheaper than a leg. So what we'll do is we'll quote the customer on this part and see if they want it doing. Obviously we'll just have to charge them for today, so we'll just charge them an hour's labour. I've been here about an hour and a half because it took me a while to get that pin out and obviously work out everything, so we'll just charge them an hour's labour. That includes the travelling time as well. So yeah, so it's an hour's labour today, and then we'll give them a quote to replace this part. It shouldn't take too long, so we've done most of the work now, so it's literally just a case of putting this part onto the leg, and then we've just got to thread it basically through the hole to put it back on. But yeah, what we'll do is we'll get this job quoted up, and then we'll just have a word with the customer, and yeah, we'll see you on the next one.